Well, after a minor bullpen collapse, it's all sunshine and rainbows here in Hyannis. Thanks to this guy, Scott Schreiber, for his 3-run home run back in the second inning. And take us through what you were seeing on that home run, because that was an absolute moonshot from you.
Yeah, there were a few runners on base. I didn't want to let that first pitch get by me. Gave me a good pitch to hit, and luckily I got my bat on it.
Now, yesterday you had the walk-off hit. Today you have the home run, both first for the Bourne Braves. Is there anything else you're looking to accomplish first for this team?
Not necessarily. Just trying to stay within myself, doing whatever I can do to, help this ball team win games.
Now, as a player at Nebraska, I'm sure you're not a big Ohio State fan during the year, but what did you make of Ryan Feltner in the ninth inning coming in and shutting it down after the bullpen struggled a little bit in the late innings?
I'm just happy I don't have to face him. So, yeah, he did a great job, like you said, picking us up and coming out and, getting us out of that ninth inning.
Scott, really, we were only scheduled to have one Cornhusker here this year, but you've brought a couple more along with yourself and Linsman and Alvarado now. Alvarado was here last summer, and that's kind of when he officially made the decision that he was going to be a two-way player. Have you seen him progress over this last season, and what do you expect from him on the Cape this season?
Yeah, for sure. He's taken some time, this year, working on his pitching mechanics, working back at school. He's a great friend, great guy to be around, and just always has, a positive attitude. But yeah, I expect great things from him.
Well, Scott, we'd like to thank you for coming on Tomahawk Talk today. Have a good ride home.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Scott.
Well, damage control was in full effect here at McKeon Park in Hyannis, Massachusetts, as the Braves pulled away with a 7-6 victory against the Harbor Hawks. Blaine McCormick, Kyle Kirchhoff, and Justin Galanti in for Tomahawk Talk. Kyle, I'll start with you. What was wrong with the Braves bullpen tonight? I mean, we've seen them really come in and shut down hitters these past games, but today it seemed like it was a different tide. What happened?
Yeah, well, I think, you're going to have these games. We talked about this a couple episodes ago, the fact that this bullpen cannot continue to be 100% lights out. They've had an outstanding season. Even with this blemish, they've still had an outstanding season so far. So obviously there's going to be some games where the bullpen just doesn't have it. And frankly, I think Hyannis was just happy to see another pitcher, and they were ready to take advantage of whatever opportunities they got. Bullpen guys were throwing strikes, and when they weren't, they were walking people. So really, it was just up for Hyannis just to take advantage of their opportunities that they had. And I think a guy like Jake Mangum was a huge asset to this team. Got on base 4 times, obviously struck out in the ninth inning, but got the leadoff spot to get on base and start to create some things. They stole bases, and really Hyannis did a good job of pushing across the runs they could do tonight. But the bullpen definitely struggled, but Ryan Feltner coming out of it, I mean, my goodness, what a way to put a stamp on it despite the damage control.
You mentioned Feltner. Justin, you're a huge fan of this guy, and I mean, he throws absolute gas when he's on the mound. You mentioned on the broadcast that the scouts just hold up their radar guns as soon as he takes it to the rubber. What do you see from him, and how fast can he actually throw for our fans that haven't heard of him?
Yeah, I mean, Feltner sits somewhere in the high 90s, and it's certainly a radar gun party when he comes into the game. And tonight, he deserves a lot of credit because we talked about this also on the broadcast. Hitting is contagious. And basically, that's what happened in the 8th inning with the Harbor Hawks. But for Feltner to come in against the top of the order in the 9th inning and frankly make 3 really good hitters look not that good at hitting is very impressive. Tonight, his fastball was on, but really for the first time this season, his breaking stuff was as good as we've seen it. And that made him look like a very dominant pitcher, and he is as strong as it gets in the back end of the Bourne bullpen.
Well, you said that hitting is contagious, and it seems as though that Scott Schreiber is just diagnosed with a hitting streak right now. Schreiber hit a 3-run home run in the top of the second inning, an absolute moonshot to left center field. And he had a walk-off hit yesterday, too. What else can he do?
Well, we talked about Scott coming into this next game tonight and carrying some of that momentum that the Braves had in the 9th last night, because the offense has been so inconsistent. But seeing Schreiber come out and hit the first home run for the Braves this season, I mean, just like you said, Blaine, an absolute shot. And it just goes to show this game ended up being a 1-run game. The effect that extra base hits and home runs can have in a game where the bullpen struggles are huge, because if Schreiber doesn't hit a home run there, and even if he just pushes across 1 or 2, it's a tie ball game. It's a totally separate game. Obviously, hindsight is 20/20. But anytime you have a guy like him that has his kind of power and is able to take advantage of some smaller dimensions here at McKeon and the wind as well, I mean, that goes a long ways and sets you up later on.
And the home runs are kind of hard to come by here in the Cape Cod Baseball League, but Schreiber hitting an absolute bomb out to the out of the park here. we got to talk about how good the pitching is, and we got to talk about Brian Eichhorn today. He only gave up 1 run, ironically off of a home run, but he looked very impressive on the mound today, and he's transitioned from a bullpen pitcher to a starter today. What did you think of Eichhorn's performance?
Yeah, well, with a couple guys leaving in the rainouts in a weird situation, there were open spots in the rotation. So Harvey Shapiro went to Brian Eichhorn, and he was really solid. Threw a ton of strikes, kept the game moving along, pitched to contact, and did a good job. Bourne went on top early, and the game got a little tight late because of the bullpen. But Eichhorn did his job of throwing strikes, getting his team back in the dugout so they could keep putting up runs for him. And eventually it was enough for Bourne to get the win. Good to see Brian, who pitched really well in relief in Game 2 of the season against Chatham, pitch a good start today.
Well, great job by the Bourne Braves pitchers, especially from Feltner and Eichhorn. And we'd like to give a shout out to our players of the game right now. For me, it's a tough decision because Feltner's flowing absolute gas and has come in and just shut down hitters each game that he's appeared in, but I got to give it to Scott Schreiber today. It's rare to come by home runs in this game and in this league in general, so Schreiber gets my tip of the cap.
I have to give it to Ryan Feltner for the reasons that you mentioned, Blaine, and the fact that the bullpen was struggling so mightily prior to him coming in. The fact that you can turn to a guy, and we were mentioning on the broadcast, that Harvey Shapiro can go to a guy like Feltner, who he's had so much success with, and that has those abilities to, regardless of statistics, get the ball up in the high 90s and pair the breaking stuff with it. The fact that the Braves bullpen was struggling so much tonight isn't something we've seen that much of, but the fact that Feltner was able to come in and absolutely eliminate any kind of memory of those previous innings is absolutely huge. So Ryan Feltner has to be my player of the game for coming in and just absolutely slamming the door in the Harbor Hawks' faces.
Well, it looks like I'm the tiebreaker, and, well, going with you, buddy.
Hey, there we
Scott
go.
Schreiber, first home run of the year, you have to get player of the game.
Well, great.
Okay.
Well, we want to tip our caps to everybody on this Bourne Braves team for a great performance here tonight. 7-6 Braves win here in Hyannis. We'll catch you guys again tomorrow as the Braves take on the Harbor Hawks once again. This time, it's going to be in Dorn Park in Bourne, Massachusetts. For Kyle Kirchhoff and Justin Galanti, I'm Blaine McCormick. Thank you for listening to Tomahawk Talk.